And you may speak to both bills if I know you're familiar with both of them.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. For the record, Reuven Carlyle, representing the delightfully kind and caring, dapper and dignified people of the 36th Legislative District, widely and objectively known worldwide as the very heart, soul, passion, and spirit of Seattle.
You're using your time up, Senator Carlyle.
Madam Chair. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks for your support of this great legislation. Madam Chair, we've been on a journey together, many of us, for the last number of years. About 10 years ago, the estimated high school completion rate for youth in foster care in our state was about 27%. It's now in the mid-40s, and that seems modest, but it's a real journey and it's a real effort. But the good news, in addition to that, is that we have really compelling data. Things have changed in the last number of years. We have trialed programs in partnership with Treehouse, the Mockingbird Society, the Children's Administration, so public and private money, statewide efforts. What we've learned is that wraparound services work. What we've learned is that high-touch, engaged adults who care work in terms of helping young people. What is important about this legislation is that it was written in partnership with many of the organizations in our state that represent youth, both directly and adults who care about them, but also it's an important partnership with the private sector. And I would say to you that not only is it data-driven to show that an aspirational framework to how we approach youth in foster care and homeless youth can work, but that we as a state have a public responsibility to care about parity. The fact is that youth in care and non-youth in care students have the right to the same kind of infrastructure and support and systems approach. So this may seem like an inside Olympia bureaucratic mumbo jumbo of work groups, but this is really important, and it was written by the youth themselves, because what we need are the institutional bureaucracies and silos of government to come together and have accountability and ownership together. So this is real. It's been worked on very extensively. We've had a great deal of effort underway to bring down the walls in everything from OSPI to the new Department of Children's and Youth and Family Services, as well as private providers. Those high-touch services work. So the purpose of this is have an aspirational policy framework that allows us to have that accountability across the silos of government and to have an actual policy goal that we as a state are committing to. So I'm sensitive to cost, I'm sensitive to concepts of entitlement, but we have policies and programs in the pre-K system, in the K-12 system, and in the higher educational system. We're putting a lot of money into that, but we as a government are failing to coordinate these programs and these policies, and it's time for us to get our game on. So that's what this is about. I really appreciate your support. Senator Zeiger's been a big supporter of this over the years, and along with many of you, and I really appreciate your efforts to put these together and to get serious about this issue.
Well, thank you for your thoughtful, gracious, far-reaching, insightful testimony.
Thank you.
Just a moment, please. Dapper, even.
I didn't say me. I said the good and gracious people of 36th.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the timelines of the two bills look very similar. Were the bills originally, like, why was there two bills instead of just one bill, I guess? Was there a reason for that? Or?
Sure. So my efforts in the interim were driven by youth in foster care, primarily, and we were working with Treehouse and Mockingbird Society and the Children's and Youth and Family Service. So there was sort of a more tactical focus on continuing that journey. A number of years ago, we passed our first bill in this area. In the last number of years, we passed 4 or 5 critical pieces of legislation that all built the infrastructure around reaching out to the private sector and reaching out to government. So my efforts were around that. There was parallel efforts that were looking at some of the issues around homelessness, and we just didn't get them merged early enough. But it was the intent down the road, and it just now's the time to do it.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I do appreciate that. So